Hey, welcome to Sprint Final. Today I want to talk to you about how to win on a mountain stage when you're in the very back of the pack of a 4-person game. That's me, way back there as Orange, and I am against one of the biggest courses, one of the hardest courses that there is. It's called Mont Ventoux, and it's a little bit of a flat, then it goes into a 20 square uphill, another bit of a flat with these little, I call them lily pad downhills, little targeted areas that you can potentially land on and gain a few movements, and then it goes into another 20 square uphill finish. So there's very few places to pass, very few places to you've got to do everything perfectly in order to win something like this, especially if you're in the back. If you're in the front, you've got a little bit of leeway, but if you're in the back, you need to do everything right. And so let's go on into the game. So I decided on my first movement, I wanted to play my low cards, obviously because I know that I'm going to need to save a lot of my 5s and 6s and 7s because we've got a lot of uphills and I need to save those to be able to gain movements in critical positions. But I'm willing to play my higher cards in this particular position because I know that my sprinter needs to be in the front of the pack because obviously he has lower cards, like he has a lot of 2s and 3s and 4s, and so it's a little bit more difficult for him to stay in contact, especially up a very long climb. So if you can play him and get him to the very front, well, when he starts losing movements, it's not that big of a deal. He's still drafting. But one place that I really knew that I needed to hit was this downhill square. These two. I needed to hit these spots to give myself a chance because I knew I needed to play a 5 at the start of this uphill. But I didn't want to play a 5 because, again, I'm in the back. I need to save all the 5s that I can. And luckily, by a miracle, like you're going to need a little bit of luck in this game, especially if you're in the back on a huge uphill climb. I landed myself on those squares. And so I was able to play a 2 with my sprinter. I was able to play a 3 with my roller and make it to a decent position in this. I'm hanging on. I'm in the back, but I'm at least hanging on. So the game progresses and Segu starts doing some interesting things. He's playing 3s in the front, which is a good thing for him because he's being very strategic actually. He's landing both of his players onto the same square so that it blocks us and we all play big cards like 5s and we land on them and we go to the back and we lose movements. Meanwhile, he knows somebody is most likely going to play a 5 and go ahead of him, and they did. So he's being very strategic here. He is taking some exhaustion, but he's making other people lose movements. So it's a give and take, and he decided that that's how he wanted to play the game. So I kind of wise up to what he's doing, and I decided to play more 4s and not play a 5 because, hey, I don't want to lose my movements here. So Segu does the exact same thing again. He plays 3s and 2s when he's in the very front, which is, again, wise, and I, again, lose a movement with my sprinter. I play a 4, and he only goes 3. I'm not too worried about that, though, because I know my sprinter is not going to win this game. I want him to be a pawn for my wheeler. I want him to help my wheeler get to the front of the game when it is at the critical moment so I can even have a chance to win this thing. We get to the top of this climb and I would love to land on one of these little downhill squares. I mean, to me, that sounds amazing. Again, Segu is doing, seems like everything right. He's landing both of his characters on this downhill, but he drafts up and he doesn't actually land on the squares. And I'm like, oh wait, I landed on the square. That's exactly what I wanted. And this is the critical moment in this game. What is the most important thing in this game for me right now? Is it to gain a couple of movements with my roller? Is that really gonna win me the game as this climb is coming up? Is that what is going to make or break my game for me, is like gaining one movement if I play a 4? I'm still gonna be behind these guys. Sure, maybe I draft up if they play a 6 or a 7, but like, is that going to win me the game potentially? And I thought, no, it's not. So what I decided to do seems a little crazy considering I was starting from the back, but I decided instead of playing on this downhill and gaining a 5, I decided to play a 7, making me lose a 5, a potential 5, if you know what I mean, going up the climb. I decided to play a 9 with my sprinter and a 7 for my roller, kind of almost guaranteeing that I'm going to get to this hill in first place. Even if that means that I lose or have less quote-unquote 5s to play going up this uphill, because if you play a 7, it turns to a 5. If you play a 6, it turns to a 5. So I just call all of those cards when you're going up a hill a 5, if you know what I mean. I just need enough 5s to make it to the top of this mountain in first place. So I play a 5 with my sprinter, knowing full well that my sprinter is not going to win this game, but I want to make sure that he is helping my roller, who currently has 0 exhaustion. I want to make sure that my roller continues to have 0 exhaustion. But what I realized in this very moment is, yes, I have less with my roller, with my wheeler, I have less potential 5s than any of these characters. Than this wheeler, the blue wheeler, than the red wheeler. I was like, I have less than them, but in a way I have more because I have a better position. See, their 5s, their potential 5s, don't really matter because they could have, say, 8 potential 5s, but the map is going to end in 4. I only have 3 potential 5s, but I'm in the lead. And after that, I have a 4. So I just need to stay in the front and then play my 4, and they won't be able to pass me. The problem, though, is that I know that this blue wheeler right here has more 5s than me, meaning he is guaranteed to win the game. That is, if he didn't have exhaustion, but he does. He has either 4 or 5 exhaustion, and I wasn't exactly sure how much, but I knew that he had more than me, and I have 0. So I see all of my cards. Every turn, there are 4 turns left, and every turn I can see all 4 of my cards. I have a potential 5, a potential 5, a potential 5, and a 4. Since my sprinter, there's no hope for him to win, I decide, hey, I'm just gonna let this wheeler, who I know has to play all of his 5s, I'm gonna let the blue wheeler take even more exhaustion. Because look, I don't care if my wheeler takes any exhaustion at all, because every time that I take an exhaustion, I still have 4 cards. Because I only have 4 cards, say I play a 6, well, that just gets replaced with a 2. And I still have 4 cards that I can see. Well, the next time I've got a 2, 6, 6, 4. Well, I'm just gonna play my other 6, and then it turns into another 2. I can still see 2, 2, 6, 4. So my exhaustion literally doesn't matter because I only have 4 cards and there's only 4 more turns. So I was like, well, the blue wheeler is guaranteed to win this game if he draws all the perfect cards. But what are the chances that he's going to draw every perfect card the entire time going up this climb? I mean, there's a chance, but he keeps gaining exhaustion, and that chance keeps getting lower and lower. And for me, I have nothing, no exhaustion, and I have less potential 5s than anybody in this game. But the course is gonna end. So I'm just biding my time like, man, is he ever gonna draw another card like an exhaustion or a 3? Because I know he has some 3s in his deck. Is he going to keep drawing 5s and 6s? He in fact drew a 3. He was 1 square short, and I played my 4 just as planned, and somehow nobody came across because they all had more exhaustion than me. And so I literally played starting in the back of this game. Somehow I ended a turn ahead of everybody else. And it just shows the power of understanding when that critical moment is to make a move, to get ahead. Realize that positioning matters more than a 7 sometimes. Sure, burn a 7, but does it really matter if the game is going to end in 4 turns? If somebody behind you has 77s, it doesn't matter because you can all only go 5 at a time. So that was the critical moment, was right here. Just remember that you don't always have to take advantage of these little downhill things. Sure, it was extremely critical for me back here at the very start to hit both of these so I didn't have to play my 5s, so that I could save those 5s and play them up here when it really mattered. But once we got to this point right here, position mattered more than a card. It mattered infinitely more than a card. But back here, positioning didn't matter more than a card. Saving my cards mattered more than the positioning. I was totally fine with staying in the back because I wasn't going to take exhaustion. So definitely pay attention to the downhills when you need them, but sometimes just blow past them. You don't need them all the time. It's okay to gain some exhaustion at the end of a game where you have not very many cards and you're shuffling a lot. It doesn't matter so much because you're most likely going to still draw all the cards that you need. That is what saved me on this game, and I really think that could help you too. Let me know what you think. Drop a comment. Really helps this channel. I think we only have like 7 subscribers, but I love this game, and I really want to get more people on it. So like this video if it helped you. It really mean a lot, and I will talk to you guys in the next one. See you over on Sprint Final. Hopefully we play together.